Hello and welcome to Panther Financial Services. This is Pranav Patil. Today we will discuss about the e-rupees. Is it really kind of cryptocurrency? What it is basically? Who should get benefit? What are the disadvantage of this? All the things we will discuss in this video. So let me start the discussion. By saying the importance when we have a people like the Raghurajam or good leaders at the top institutions like RBI. There are always we have seen the innovations. So Rajan is one of example. When he was leading RBI, uh, he was responsible for the UPI as well. On 11th April 2016, RBI launched a UPI system. Basically, UPI is not a digital payment; it's a platform where what happens, you do a transfer of money from one person to another person at the fastest level. Whereas the E-Rupee is actually a currency. Now we will understand all the factors and details. What E-Rupee is nothing but CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. It is entirely monitored by the RBI. Now, how exactly we work? What is the exact difference between the normal currency and E-Rupee? You must have think that we are doing a payment from UPI or RTGS or other online mode. It is also digital payments, and how the E-Rupee is different. We will discuss all this factor. Now, what happens in the CBDC, that is central bank digital currency, and your normal payment? What happens if I wanted to pay XYZ person? What I do, I initiate the transaction. I'll take an example of UPI, this GPay or Paytm. What I do, I transfer money from my bank to his bank. So suppose my bank is HDFC bank, so I give money to HDFC bank. HDFC transfers to the other person's bank, assume it ICICI bank. So money goes to ICICI bank, then the reflection happens into the end user's account. So these are the different ledgers are maintained. There are three ledgers are maintained. One is the at HDFC level, one is the ICICI level, and RBI also monitors at the broader level ledger where the payments happens to track all the payments and everything. So this is how the biggest difference you will find it. Now, where in the case of E-Rupee, what happens if I wanted to pay the XYZ person directly? I'll just scan or I'll take that number, I'll transfer the money without any bank intervention. So this is the very crux or the major difference you will find it. There is no bank intervention into this entire model. Now, who can issue this? Entirely this regulation is done by the monitoring, is done by the RBI. Now, RBI has provided license to four banks. One is S Bank, second is ICICI, third is SBI, and the fourth one is IDFC. So these four banks where you can open the account and you can take the E-Rupee further if you wanted to use it. Now, in the economy, if you look at it, 90 to 93% transactions happens with the digital way currently. So the in India, assume it there are 100 rupees transactions happening across the India. So out of that, 93% happening with the digital payments only. Digital in the sense Paytm, GPay, RTGS, NEFT without using a hard cash. So 7 to 9% prospective, that benchmark is used for the cash perspective. There is a huge amount of change happened from the cash level to the digital because of this UPI. And UPI is not restricted with India. Now there are a lot of countries are started using UPI. It's one of the biggest innovation is being seen at the global level. India's innovation. Now, how exactly now let me tell you, this is not the new currency. Like you see the Bitcoin, you see the Ether coin, you see the Dogecoin. So it is not that kind of currency. The reason because it is monitored by a particular central bank. RBI is monitoring each and everything. It is not something like like a Bitcoin where no central bank is having authority over the Bitcoin or anything. So if there is a pricing or anything happens, the central bank comes into the picture. Whereas then the Bitcoin, it is not, this kind of things are not there. So Bitcoin you'll find the goes volatile, like in a one day you'll find 30% upside, 40% downside. This doesn't work. It is a very simple word. Whatever the notes you are carrying, same notes you are carrying in the digital form. It is as simple as that. Now, how exactly it works? It works with the blockchains only. Like, it works into Bitcoin from one person directly goes to the end user, and then the person who wants to have that payment. So it goes directly without intermediary. This is what happened in the Bitcoin. Same thing happens in the CBDC currency as well, central bank digital currency, where the direct payments happen. That's called as a bit the block via blockchain basically. So this is the things you will find in the E-Rupee. Now, if you look at the what are the pros and cons of this. So, if you the first we will discuss, it gives more power to the central bank. If you look at it, E-Rupee concept, whereas the cryptocurrency doesn't give any powers to anyone, it is with you only. Let me tell you openly, if you wanted to build your wealth, you can create with via Bitcoin also. You can have a Bitcoin. You can open the account, trading account for a Bitcoin at any global trader level, and you can keep the account with them, and nobody will have any idea. At the initial level, you have to just connect the one bank account to transfer the fund. You can receive in number of amount in terms of Bitcoin, and you can keep it. You can make it as your assets as in Bitcoin account. But in this case, what happens? CBDC entirely it is regulated by the central bank. So there is no there are much more powers to the central government indirectly, because indirectly RBI has a holding as an hold of central government. So something people like CBI or these central government agencies, they will have, if there is a issue, they will have easily access to all these platforms. Now, if you look at interest wise, if you keep the money into the bank, you will get the 3% interest, 4% interest on a saving account. Whereas in the case of CBDC, you don't get any kind of interest. The third point, if you look at it, the drawback basically, it removes the credit lending powers from the private bank. What happens if you look at the big scam, like I'm not pinpointing any specific person, but a lot of people have made it and they have flown out of the country, like Nirav Modi, or I'm not saying this actually they have made it, maybe, but just an example I'm saying. These people, a lot of people have flown from India by doing a big issues with the Indian banks. All these banks are private, public sector banks, not the private sector banks. And public sector banks has a authority from a central government perspective. So all these things happens with the approval of central ministers only. Without that, it is not possible to have big this kind of issues with the public sector bank. Now, when it comes to the private bank, this kind of things doesn't happen. And if this the E-Rupee comes at a bigger level, then they will have the lot of problems with the private banks, because private banks will not have any idea about the person credit lend. If they wanted to give a loan, basically the lot of messages you get from a private bank, you have been approved 10 lakh rupees loan, you have been approved 15 lakh rupees loan or 5 lakh rupees loan. On what basis you get this message? Because of there's a transaction happening in your account, and the credibility you maintain with the bank by paying EMIs or credit cards, all the things. Now that is being calculated on the basis of entire account summary. But when it comes to E-Rupee, entirely it will be with a you and the direct third party, the person who is getting the money. So there won't be any kind of credit lending. The banks can get it. So this is the drawback you will see it in the case of E-Rupees. Now, what is the benefit then? The majorly what it is perceived in the market, like if there are certain people who doesn't want it to track any kind of transaction when they do anything, small or big things, they feel that IT may check this, or I'll have a IT notice for this falana and dimka. But in this case, the end users, the person who is giving you money and the person you are giving to the money, there is a confidentiality. You cannot track the end users identification. So that kind of benefit you will get it. Now the second, if you look at it, the major difference you will find, it is slightly different from the cryptocurrency, where the cryptocurrency you can do a lot of hacking and everything happens. Here you won't get it, that kind of things. So the person who wanted to maintain the confidentiality for themselves and for their payments, they can use it this perspective. Otherwise, there is no big difference you will find with the E-Rupee and the normal payments and other things. There is a huge difference between the E-Rupee and the cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is not regulated by a particular authority, and trust me, the cryptocurrency is something. It is. I personally believe it is the biggest innovation. The person who would have thought it, it's simply amazing person. He would have gone beyond imagination and created such a kind of thing. The currency which is not regulated by anyone, it is free of from authority, and that is something called as a Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency. So this is all about the E-Rupee. If you have any doubt or anything, you can mention in the comment box, or you can WhatsApp anytime. Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.